Here is a 2024 BMW Alpina B8 in frozen tanzanite blue metallic over ivory white extended merino leather. Why would you option the B8 over the M8 competition? You're getting 7 horsepower less, 37 pound-feet torque more. You are adding over 300 pounds curb weight in 0.3 seconds 0 to 60 slower. But you're getting better weight distribution at 53.2, 46.8. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to show you why this is one of the best variants for a Gran Coupe. Starting off with the Icon adaptive LED headlights and BMW laser. The lower is going to get the gloss black elements. Satin aluminum is going to surround the kidney grille. Alpina right in the front so you know what you're looking at. The long hood, this is traditional to the Gran Coupe. Nothing's changed except for what's housed underneath there, which is 9 horsepower less than the Mercedes Maybach S680, 74 pound-feet of torque less, but the 0 to 60 over a second quicker at 3.3 seconds. We have a BMW 4.4 liter Alpina Twin-Turbo V8 producing 612 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. That's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. The top speed will be 11 and 12 miles per hour more than the M8 Gran Coupe at 168 miles or 201 miles per hour, achieving 17 mpgs for the city and 24 mpgs for the highway. And because it's an Alpina, we have to have these classic 20-inch multi-spoke alloy wheels, blue brake calipers housing 4 pistons in the front, Alpina badging. The frozen tanzanite blue metallic with the gloss black elements set the tone, because this is going to be something that stands out in the parking lot, similar to the Maybach S680. The difference, though, is the styling and dynamics and performance are going to be better than Mercedes, and it's going to be a fraction of the price compared to the Benz. And the reason why it's so more dynamic is because of the M suspension that's tuned by Alpina with the X-Drive all-wheel drive system, and you're still getting the M differential with rear steering to about 5 degrees, which will help with cornering, giving basically a 50-50 weight distribution, and also for parking, because this vehicle is over 200 inches. So when you're backing up into a parking that's similar to this, or trying to get out, it's going to be a lot more easy. Standard LED taillights, trunk lid spoiler. I like how everything is the same color except for the gloss black elements that just make it look a little bit more athletic. The thing that I dislike, though, is with any of the 8 Series. You have this little lip right here in front of the trunk, which when you're putting in items, I would recommend putting a clear bra so you don't scratch anything, because things can fall. Quad exhaust tips, they're chromed out, front and rear parking sensors, and a 360-degree reverse camera. The only other thing that I feel they should have done, maybe black out the tips so it keeps it more dynamic in the rear. Kick to open or power lift gate going into 15.5 cubic feet. Just like all Gran Coupes, the opening is going to be more inwards. LED interior lighting with a storage nook. Here is the mats for the Alpina. Split fold the rear bench in the back at a 40-60 split. Because I'm tall, I'm gonna just reach in, push it down. That way you can see the maximized cargo, which is more than the Mercedes Maybach. Let's go inside and start up this twin turbo so you can hear that exhaust note. 14-way power for the front, memory seats, heated, ventilated, massage, manual cushion extensions for the front. Headroom and leg room. The M8 and the B8, any of the Gran Coupes, are going to have a lot of leg room. It is driver focused. It tilts more towards the driver's side with a 12.3 infotainment screen. This does not have the iDrive 8 system, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. to put it into Sport, Sport Plus, and you can also configure it to make it more sporty or comfortable, because this is the Alpina. Throw it into reverse, and we have a 360-degree reverse camera, full trajectory for the front and the rear, backup assist. Click this icon here, and you have the 3D view, which you can use gesture, you can use the iDrive, or you can simply touch the screen to go all around the vehicle to see any imperfections whenever you're doing your reversing. The car wash will show the trajectory for the front, going into quad climate control, which is standard. Ambient lighting that will go in between the satin aluminum with the contrast stitching, and this is going to be leather on top of the dashboard with a heads-up display, auto dimming rear view mirror in a dual moonroof setup. Going into the Ashwood that opens up into a wireless charge. You got USB 12 volt and the key fob for the B8. Glass controls come standard, and I like that they put the Alpina and they put the B8 badging right here in between the controls. With that Ashwood, it's going to be soft to touch, opens up into a medium-sized storage pocket with a 12 volt and a USB. Leather wrap steering wheel, which is also unique to the Alpina. It's heated, multi-function with adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist. The paddle shifts is what's the unique part, in the contrast stitching. As you can see, the two-tone here, you don't push here, you have to use 3 and 9 o'clock in order to use the shifts, which makes it more like F1 or racing. The gauge cluster is a 12.3 digital gauge cluster that can go through an array of information for the driver when you hit the BC on the stock right here. And when you change the driving modes, it will change the layout of the gauge cluster. The dashboard and the door panels configuring together with the Harman Kardon sound system. Contrast stitching starts off with the ambient lighting, satin aluminum. It's going to be more sport derived, which you would expect because of the performance. Long storage pocket with a couple of beverage holders carved out. Headroom for the back and leg room. You're going to sit up a little bit more so in this Gran Coupe. Dual climate control for the rear, heated rear seats, USB, air vents, the ambient lighting with the Ashwood. The center gets the armrest with the cup holders, and you get a storage pocket here. The nice thing and the luxury, besides getting extra storage everywhere, is on each door pocket you can move everything to adjust and make it a lot more exclusive because it would be closed up, or a little bit more sporty because it's opened up. The door panel is going to have the same materials found in the front, so it's sporty, a long storage pocket. Sitting into the center, obviously, you're gonna have to jump over the hump, and you will be sharing some feet space. Butt space, because it contours inwards and you sit back, whereas in the center you're going to sit upwards more, making it a little bit more difficult for headroom, in which you would probably want to have the moonroof open to sit into the middle. 53.2, 46.8 weight distribution, a 0 to 60 at 3.3 seconds, pumping 612 horsepower. We're going to show a little bit here. And because we have the rear steering plus that weight distribution, I'm not so concerned about taking these corners at a little bit higher speeds. And when you're considering what you're getting, this is a family slash luxury slash performance variant all blending in. It's awesome. I mean, look at this thing go. But we really need to see if it's 3.3 seconds. So we're gonna stop right here, put it into first. Here we go. I would say BMW is correct. It's super fast. More fast than you need it to be, especially if you're driving just local roads. But if you're wanting to take it on the track, it's ready to go. 590 pound-feet of torque. This thing is just amazing. It's hugging the road like crazy. Fun to drive, you get it. It's gonna be a premium, but not much more than an M8 competition. The competition comes standard for the M8. They did this for a couple of years, giving 617 horsepower. It's not as much horsepower and torque as the Benz, but it's faster. 0 to 60, it's better weight distribution. You also have the rear steering, so it makes it basically 50-50. Adaptive M suspension that's tuned by Alpina to make it a little bit more athletic, but it's gonna take me to some pros and cons. Starting off with the pros is what you get when you're going to a B8. Yes, you are losing some performance, but it's not enough to say I wouldn't purchase it, because this is the top of the line tier. Interior, you can fit 4 adults without any issues at all. Cargo capacity is better than the Maybach, and you get better speeds, and it's over $50,000 cheaper than a Maybach. And that's what BMW does. It gives you performance and luxury that's blended for not just a bargain deal, but a steal. I'm gonna show you that performance again. It's fun. And even with these imperfections in the road, these 20-inch staggered wheels are soaking up the road. Clearance is good, visibility is good, the windows on the side are sleek, but they're large enough. You have plenty of storage throughout. It's not going to be like a 7 Series, but you're not really wanting that when you get into the B8. Some cons about the vehicle: if you're not used to performance vehicles, meaning you don't know how to drive and put your hands on the steering wheel at a 3 or 9 o'clock, you're not gonna like the paddle shifters at first, because you have to use your fingers, in which force you to use the 9 and 3 o'clock on the steering wheel. Other cons: you're losing horsepower, you're gaining a pretty decent amount of torque, 37 pound-feet more than an M8 competition, but you're also losing that 0 to 60, and you're also gaining over 350 pounds curb weight. So there is some things they could have shed, but they're also trying to give a little bit more of a class luxury when you go into the Alpina. Some other things is we're not getting the updated iDrive 8 system. So when you're considering this, is it a good variant? I personally like the iDrive 7. The iDrive 8 is unique to itself, but this sets itself at a different look. Dynamics, the steering is going to be heavy when it needs to be, and you can also lighten it up. There's not necessarily a lot of driving modes, but I mean, you don't really need it. For sport though, there is. You have 4 different settings when you get into the comfort, or you just put it in adaptive, so that way it just drives for you in the sense of the suspension moving up and down depending on the way you push the throttle. That's pretty much the way I would drive it. I would say a good portion of the time, unless I'm really taking this onto the track. Some other pros is the rear axle steering. It goes to about 5 degrees, which will help when you're getting on and off intersections and you're pushing the throttle hard, or just parking, because when you're over 200 inches long, it can be a little bit harder to maneuver the vehicle. But even though you have that, you still have such great weight distribution that it's not 100% needed. For me, I'm more of an M8 competition fan. I would option this if it was on the dealership floor, but I wouldn't order it. I would go M8 competition. And not just because of the power increase and the 0 to 60 is faster. The top speed is less in the M8 competition. This is substantially faster. You're talking 11, 12 miles per hour faster, going over 200 miles per hour in this, which is crazy. I could just imagine. I wouldn't do it on roads. You would want to do that on the track. And the big con that I see with the Alpina is they still do not address the manual cushion seat extensions. They shouldn't even offer it this way. It should just be standard power seat adjustment. I'm talking 22-way power adjustment, because when you get into the bins, you're going to have power adjustments for everything. Pillow cushion extensions for your headrest for the front and the back occupants, which you can also tailor a little bit. I'm not saying that I want this to be a 7 Series. Stopping, it's not as airtight as the M8 competition, in which I don't know if you would really expect it to be, because you have increased curb weight. Turn radius, look at that, 1.5 lanes. Dynamics, gonna have to buy a new set of tires when you're done. It is a vehicle that is ready for the track and your everyday blend. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check out the next video, merchandise, website, and Instagram. And I'd like to thank BMW of Wesley Chapel for giving us this 2024 BMW Alpina B8 Gran Coupe for our car review.